What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here from DataDash, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you are, because in today's sponsored review, I want to spend some time to talk about not only one of the biggest emerging narratives in the crypto industry over these last few months, but on top of that, a project that could very well be poised to take advantage of that trend and lead the way forward. Today, we're talking about none other than TokenFi, and more particularly, we're talking about the broader narrative of real-world assets and tokenization of everything. This is a narrative that has been really taking the world by storm. And even if we're excluding the topic of tokenized securities, which has been discussed about in the crypto space for a while, the whole range of assets that are non-securities that can be tokenized in the world is massive. And as there's further institutional adoption of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin as a whole as an asset, it's time to start looking at this narrative in a relatively serious way, to start looking at the projects that can service this need. And just take a look at some of the metrics that have come up over the past few months here. $16 trillion is the estimated figure by a whole range of leading firms, both in traditional finance and in crypto, around the value potential of tokenized real-world assets. So this is how much assets could potentially be tokenized by 2030. And it's not just figures being tossed out that have got people excited about this. You've got a whole range of heavyweights in the traditional world of finance, for example, like JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon, who used to be a huge Bitcoin and crypto skeptic, along with that as well. And even Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, believes that tokenization of real-world assets is the next step going forward after the launch of a Bitcoin ETF. Wow. So we have a lot of big institutional heavyweights talking about this in pretty serious terms. So I want to talk today about this narrative, but more importantly, I want to talk about why I believe TokenFi is one of the few projects that actually could be poised to take advantage of this, because a lot of projects are realizing the value of real-world assets. They see that there's a market there. But the problem is, so many of them are behind the curve. Many of them are still a white paper, they're in their testnet phase, and many of them are a year or two out from really realizing their value and tapping into this market. However, in the case of TokenFi, they just launched their mainnet. They've been working on this for nearly 2 years, and they deployed on some of the biggest EVM-compatible chains like Ethereum, BNB Chain, Base, Arbitrum, and OpBNB, the protocols in which have the vast majority of tokenized assets and users on them. So this is really big stuff here. And I want to talk a little bit again about why TokenFi, to me, interests me, because it provides what I would define as a 360-degree approach to launching tokenized assets. It not only lets you launch an ERC20 token, a typical kind of crypto token that you'd be familiar with on most blockchains, and a matching standard across all the different networks. Beyond that as well, they also have ERC721, allowing you to deploy NFTs for more scarce or finite supply assets. So I want to again emphasize that there's this framework that allows you to make any type of value creation out there in the digital space. But beyond that as well, they allow you through a no-code experience to deploy these contracts. So when you're launching an ERC20 token or an NFT, you're deploying a smart contract. And there's two dilemmas to that. One, it's expensive to get a Solidity engineer or someone who knows how to work within the EVM framework. There's a limited amount of engineer capacity. And if we're going to really tokenize real-world assets, we need something that's going to be streamlined. But beyond that as well, something that meets the features that you need within your token and also matches the security need. So allowing you to have transaction fees built in or burn fees, buybacks on liquidity, and a whole range of other features, as well as setting up liquidity for your token. But beyond that, making sure that any code that is going to be inputted in that token contract that's being created is secure from the get-go. That's why, in this case, TokenFi has partnered with Certic, one of the biggest token auditing firms in the crypto space, or smart contract auditing firms, to work on providing a streamlined no-code experience whereby any code that's going to be in that contract will have essentially the Certic stamp of approval, making sure that from the get-go tokens are already audited. So you don't need to go through the other additional expensive process, probably well over 75% of the process of getting your token audited and worrying about whether or not you're going to have exploits in the contract. So this is really cool stuff here, guys. Now, I definitely recommend if you want to learn a little bit more about some of the range of features that they're going to be offering. They have things like their generative AI features. So if you wanted to launch a generative AI collection of various different art pieces and launch them through an NFT collection, you can do that directly from within the platform, which I think is a really cool use of AI. They also have a whole range of other things like their tokenization model for specific real-world assets. They're going to have their launch pad, quick launch bot, and a whole range of other really solid features that I recommend you guys dive into. And they also have their native token, in this case, token. The symbol is pretty self-explanatory and fits right with the brand. Essentially, token is the native token for the overall TokenFi platform. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, I definitely recommend you guys check it out online and learn some more about the project. But there's been some really good momentum out the gate from the recent launch. And you can also see the Certic report here for the actual TokenFi project itself. maintaining an A grade on its security. But beyond all of this, I want to spend some time today to talk to an individual who's been working behind the scenes on bringing TokenFi to reality. He's the head of community relations not only for TokenFi as a project, but also the much larger project that has incubated TokenFi as a project over these past 2 years. And it may surprise you which project has brought it to the forefront. Let's go ahead and kick things off. All right, everyone. So in today's sponsored interview, I'm sitting down with Pedro Vidal, who is the head community relations over for TokenFi as well as the Floki ecosystem. I wanted to spend some time to do a bit of a review slash interview here, covering not only TokenFi as we discussed for the past few minutes in the review, but outside of that to give some time for you guys to meet Pedro, who has been kind of my personal contact who I got to meet over from the Floki ecosystem, which has actually incubated and created TokenFi as this leading protocol tapping into real world assets. And I had a really great conversation with Pedro. He gave me a whole kind of range of experience around what Floki is aiming to build and how Floki came about over the past few months. And I wanted to give the stage to you, Pedro, to talk a little bit about that and stuff. So I know we spent some time talking today about TokenFi as a project. I would love to hear from you though about like how the Floki ecosystem grew as a whole, because it's a huge component towards leading what TokenFi has been as a project.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. You have a wonderful platform and a strong community, and it clearly shows that you care about your community as much as we do. So this was just a conversation that had to happen. That being said, I think that that's a good approach, right? To understand the future potential and success of TokenFi, it's always good to go back to the beginning. And as you mentioned, Floki did incubate and create TokenFi, and I'll just give a quick description on how we got there. So to understand the spirit of Floki and what we're all about, it's important to note that from like the very beginning, there was something special about this project, but the trajectory has changed, right? And for many of your viewers, they may not know, right, that our story is one of resilience, of focus, of dedication, and of commitment to excellence at the highest caliber. That being said, when Floki originally started, that developer essentially rugged the project. And then a second developer was brought in, and that developer just left, right, with the funds. And then the community was left in dire straits, and many projects wouldn't really be able to survive, right? That type of confrontation and friction, unfortunately, and we see it way too much in our space. That being said, it was actually the community that rallied, and our current core team were existing community members, which is a clear distinction with what you see in other projects that may have a real strong utility. They may have a really strong community, but it's usually developer, VC, funders, we create a project, community comes. Here, it was the core team that came together, being existing Floki community members, and said, hey, there's something special here. This community is absolutely deserves an opportunity to be part of a movement, not just a project, right, or a cute meme, but something that pushes the technology forward and that speaks well to a project that is birthed from the meme space. So from very early on, we hit the marketing very, very strong to talk about our utility. So one of those products that came out was Valhalla, which is our metaverse play to earn game, which your viewers are going to have an opportunity to enjoy, right? Like later on in the broadcast. But with that game, it brings in elements from like very popular games like Pokemon, Skyrim, and Farmville. So you have something depending on your taste, whether you want to raid. It's obviously a Viking themed a game, very much in line, right, with Floki being Viking themed. You could farm for resources, you could ship build, and there's also a battle arena component. So you can kind of pick your poison on how you like to be entertained. But what makes the game so special is this tokenomics. As other games that have actually have come before, they've been very good, they've been very entertaining, but the tokenomics weren't sustainable. So what Floki has done is kind of turned all those experiences on their ear and are able to create this incredible metaverse play to earn project, which is called Valhalla. And we actually have a Chinese version of the game as well. And you'll be able to see some of that gameplay like very, very soon. But the reason I say that is that everything that this core team does is to be able to add utility to the experience of being a Floki holder. So Valhalla is just one component. Another component is our Flokify locker. So Flokify is short for Floki Finance. Our first product was a Flokify token locker, which is the most innovative token locker on the industry. It actually complies with the ERC 1155 standard, which is really critical because you could utilize batch locking and other features, and you could also decide to lock your LP or NFTs for the duration of time of your choosing. You no longer are limited to a couple hundred years, which is a long time, but some projects want to really be able to stake their flag and go a little bit longer. For example, TokenFi was able to lock their liquidity for over 27 million years, and that just goes hand in hand with our launch date of TokenFi, which is October 27th, 2023. So to understand where TokenFi came from, you have to look at it at the lens of Floki clearly wanting to state that we are no longer a meme project. We house a DeFi protocol powerhouse product, which is our Flokify locker, which has over 82 million total value locked and close to 2,000 locks in its very short time frame. And Valhalla also, you'll see with the trailer, the quality and the detail that we put into this. But then it goes beyond that, right? The project has transitioned into being governed as a DAO. So the community wanted to do staking. The community wanted additional utility products. And based on that DAO proposal that passed, they wanted to see staking. But again, looking at it at the lens of enhanced utility, the Floki team didn't want to just add staking to create inflationary pressure, right? You stake Floki, you get more Floki. No, that's not good enough for our community. That's not good enough for this core team. We have a certain standard. That being said, when you stake Floki, now you get this sister token, and which is a reward token, which is TokenFi, ticker symbol token. So very excited that that name was available. We were floored that it was, but then again, the timing seems to be primed for success for us. So what TokenFi is, and our first product that's being released is a TokenFi platform, which is essentially an all-in-one crypto launcher and tokenization platform where you can tokenize real-world assets as long as they're not deemed securities. So in this all-in-one platform, you can create your ERC20, you can create an ERC 721. You're able to create tokens in a very, very easy UI where you're able to just put in the information that's needed, no coding, no developer experience needed. Now, there's plenty of crypto launchers on the market. There's tons of launch pads, but what makes this different is that it's all in one. Right? You have a generative AI component. You have TokenFi Connect, which connects thought leaders, market makers, exchanges, and things of that nature. You have that generative AI function, which is able to help you create NFTs. So you could immediately do that with no graphic designer needed. You have the component of the RWA tokenization module, which, as you know, we all know in the crypto market, it's become the trend and buzzword for the last couple months. The distinction here is that we've been thinking about this for close to 2 years, and our platform is ready and it's live already.
And it's not just a concept. You guys have really actually built this whole platform. It's pretty much ready to go in the next. It'll be live by the time the interview's aired, probably.
That's right. That's right. And it's important because if any project that you review and you look at their white paper, the white paper will hold whatever you put in it, right? But your viewers are, if they've been following you for a while, they know the importance of doing due diligence and their own research. But when they look into Floki and they look into TokenFi, they're going to see that security is incredibly important to us. And you could see that by our security partner, which is Certec, which are obviously the industry leaders in terms of crypto security. And we've been able to rank amongst the top 10 percentile in security scores from Certec, and this is something that's independently verifiable. But it just gives credence to the fact that security is paramount. The experience of being a Floki holder is extremely important to us. But everything that Floki touches has to have enhanced utility. It has to push the tech forward. We don't want to just participate in the industries that we're in. We want to lead in those industries, which is why the focus from this core team that they've been able to execute successfully is get into industries that have sprawling potential growth. We see that with GameFi. We see that in the metaverse and DeFi. We see that also now in tokenization, which our platform got the green light from Certec. We got a healthy A score, just over the tune of 86, and it will continue to improve. And this is just a small taste of what that platform could do. There'll be other features that will be unveiled. And And it's just important because some people won't fully understand, well, how does TokenFi, like, how does that add any other additional value to FlokiFi? So one quick anecdote from that is if you currently stake your Floki for a certain period of time, which is 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, I mean, excuse me, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years, and 4 years. If you decide to unstake early, you could do that. And then the fee that you pay immediately goes to buy Floki and to burn Floki immediately. So it makes Floki hyper deflationary. Same thing on the TokenFi side, where if you stake token and you want to unstake it early, then that fee is utilized to buy and burn TokenFi. So everything that the ecosystems under Floki are trying to do is to improve and enhance the quality of the experience for anybody that is a Floki holder and a TokenFi holder. But make no mistake about it, TokenFi is very, very much its own brand, but it's the first product that this core team is able to launch via this brand that is completely and uniquely theirs. Right. They gave guidance as community members to Floki, made it extremely successful at the height of the bull market with a valuation of just over $3.5 billion market cap. So obviously they know what they're doing. They're very good at it. TokenFi adds another dimension, and it clearly solidifies our position that Floki is no longer just a meme project. We're here to play. We're serious players, and we're going to prove that, right? Not only by the strength of our community, because make no mistake about it, our strongest asset is our community, but they deserve the very best. So it puts a strong burden on the developers and on the core team to deliver.
Yeah, I wanted to hit on one thing, Pedro, is I think you hit on a lot of great topics there. But for me, like overall, what I sense is that you guys have this amazing story where Floki went from being this kind of viral meme coin, but unlike a lot of projects that, as you said, kind of end up dead in the water, the community leaves and stuff. There's not that, it could be, for example, as you mentioned, the event that you guys went through, so many projects would get shot down and never come back. I have to say, I thought that that's a very beautiful story because meme coins, whether people like them or not, they have this virality component. Memes are a language on the internet. That's not even me trying to be like, metaphysical or overly, romanticizing it. But
Of
there's a
course.
truth to it. But meme coins are a huge trend. Even now, since the origination of Dogecoin, they are some of the most viral cryptocurrencies out there. And Floki's story of rising, falling at that time, then coming back with its community, I think is a very interesting story. And I think because at the end of the day, you guys were able to, as a community, build that momentum around actually building real applications, like taking all that great community virality and saying, okay, what can we do with it to actually go out and build things? And I think that the thing for me with like TokenFi, the fact that you guys have been working on that for 2 years, building during the bear market, not giving up, deploying a lot of these core applications, building Valhalla. For me, that really excites me. And to be honest, like with Valhalla and TokenFi, again, I think the core objective is not to get it right every single time, but if you can build one great application, if you can build maybe even two or three great applications, and you have a DAO that's powering resources towards these ideas, the upfront cost is minimal. The potential could be massive afterwards. And I think that it's very cool that you guys are innovating and providing solutions for a whole range of things. Whereas if I point towards, a ton of other meme coin communities, at the end of the day, I know there's some people building and stuff for sure, but I haven't seen anything like this. So it's very interesting to see that. And like the token locking vault that you guys have as well, where people can lock up tokens. This is again something that I think it's natively inherent towards, in this case, Floki with its history and stuff, wanting to build something that can make sure for any community project that can know that LP tokens will be locked so you can trade in and out and there will always be some degree of liquidity. So anyways, man, I think it's a very, very cool story. And I just have to say, I'm very excited to see as TokenFi launches how the traction is going to go. And for anyone who may be interested, even in TokenFi, but also in maybe learning more about Floki as an ecosystem, which is a pretty integral part to it, what are some places that they should go and check out? And I'll leave the links down below in the description, guys, in case you want to check it. But Pedro, maybe you want to give some ideas to what might be good for the right person.
No, definitely. I think a great place to start would be our socials, right? So definitely our X page, as well as our main TG account, and then of course the Floki website. Right, because at least with the Floki website, it's a catch-all, right, for all our ecosystems, which go beyond what we discussed today. We have University of Floki, we have NFT marketplaces. There's so many things that maybe in another production we'll have a chance to glean in on that. But I think that by going to our socials, you're going to have an opportunity on the information that we provide, how we also give a platform for any community member and potential community members to actually interface with us and ask questions. We have a weekly VCs, at least, twice a week. So I think going to our socials would be a really, really great place to start and a wonderful reference, because you could do a little bit more research on what we're all about. But then more importantly, you can start to verify all the things that we mentioned today. And once you really take a quick focus and a glance on what we're doing, you're going to understand how much this team truly cares about their community, how special our community truly is, but above all, that this isn't just a crypto project. This isn't just just a company. It truly is a movement on what a community is capable of if they're focused and they're able to continue building regardless of what may be happening externally.
Awesome, Pedro. Well, it was a pleasure to have you on, man. I've really enjoyed our conversations. I mean, not just here today, but also getting to know you as well,
Yeah.
Pedro. And I think you're a great asset to the community for what Floki and also TokenFi are trying to achieve. So
Thank
I
you, man.
really
Thank you.
appreciate you making the time. And again, as you guys are interested in learning more, I'll leave the links down below in the description. But I think overall, I'm really interested in this narrative of real world assets. I've been interested in STOs, but also, again, tokenizing the range of assets beyond
Yeah.
securities.
Mhm.
It's a
That's
huge
right.
opportunity. And I think with Larry Fink and a lot of people in the traditional finance space talking about it now, I think it's really
Mhm.
going to start getting that attention. So I think you guys have definitely got that advantage of getting a product up to market soon. And I'm excited to see how the launch goes and see what you guys continue building. Thanks for coming on, Pedro.
It's my pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.